All right, okay, we're rolling. I'm here today with Paige Jervis. Paige is a Calgarian, all right, and for someone as young as she is right now, she's a boss. She literally runs the Belmont Diner. It's a breakfast diner place out of Mardaloop. Now, there's two Belmonts in the city. There's a Belmont in Aspen, and there's a Belmont in Mardaloop, as I mentioned. So it's a breakfast diner place, and Paige is the boss there. I got to know Paige just from her drinking at the bar at the old bar I used to work at. And on top of her talents as being just a super go get 'em young person, she also can drink. It's not. I mean, a lot of people brag about, oh, I can put back shots and whatnot, but I'm like, no, like this chick can put back shots and she can do it without puking. Well, at least not that I've seen. I mean, but you told me the other day you actually vomited at the bar, right?
Well, we were watching the World Cup, the Juniors World Cup.
Okay.
So, anyways, I just ended up going a little too hard that night.
Was I there? Or?
No, you weren't there,
Okay,
but
okay.
I ended up just like going a little too hard. I had a little too much fun, and that's just the way I ended up. So, anyways, only one time in the last 5 years. So,
if you didn't tell me that you puked that day, I wouldn't have known that you puked that day. So,
no one knows. I keep it undercover. So yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I can't say I've been that fortunate in my past.
Oh, trust me.
Man.
I've had my worst moments.
You ever vomit in a bar?
Yeah, at National on 10th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
National just name
10th.
all the places that all this
10th. Only because I don't know. I just had too much fun that night. I was drinking doubles and
right.
I was post breakup, so I was just like, I don't really care about anyone.
This. I'm getting after it.
Yeah, and I ended up just like puking in the bar. It was awful, but never doing it again.
All
never
right,
ever.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Paige, I do got to ask you. So, like, do you have trouble like telling people what to do at work sometimes? Because you're crazy young.
No, I mean like the age difference between everyone in our like restaurant compared to like the age difference of everyone that like you would see in a regular restaurant is like completely different. Cheers.
Oh, this is, by the way, Absolute vodka soda with some lychee. Just a little sprinkle of it.
It's really good.
It's super good. Takes the edge right off. Goes down like water. Definitely recommend it. I'm sure there's a cocktail named after that. I would imagine.
Like a lychee vodka. Yeah.
Lychee vodka.
Sure.
Is that it? I mean, I've been bartending for years, but I never
lychee vodka.
We're drinking lychee vodka. Anyway, it's fucking amazing.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've worked at the diner for I think coming up on 7 years this April. I mean, we always like toss and turn in the restaurant how long I've worked there. It's either 6 or 7 years. I've worked there since I was like 13. So
Jesus, are you allowed to work at 13?
At the time, you were allowed to. So now it has to be 14, but at the time it was 12. I think you could start working.
Really?
Yeah.
I should look up these labor laws.
I mean, so should I. But...
Yeah. Okay. No. Well, you were 13. You obviously had a SIN number and everything like that.
Yeah. So I like had worked, or I never played sports as a kid. So I was always like, oh.
You didn't play sports?
No, I was very, very bored.
You 4'5", never played sports in your life?
No. Okay. What would I play?
I
fenced as a kid. Like
that's a sport.
Yeah, okay. So I fenced and I rock climbed.
Okay.
So very niche.
So you did do sports.
But my sister was a softball player, so she's a women's softball player. She's like super into it, loves it so much. Anyways, so I ended up
shout out to Tate.
Yes, and so she's incredible. She's an amazing sports player. I just never was blessed with those genes. So I was like, why don't I?
So you're like a brain, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And so both my parents are business people, like very business oriented.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. But
So I like grew up always businesses. What is business like? What is the what is everything about business? And I was like super, super involved in that just by listening, like not even by being asked anything. Obviously.
Were you always super good at school too?
No, I sucked at school.
Okay.
I would have been a high school dropout.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, no, I sucked at school.
How bad are we talking here?
Well, just I really didn't care about school. I thought it was like super unimportant in my life. I was always roaming the hallways in high school, just hanging out and, chatting with the teachers and all those things, trying to mosey my way through the grades, but also be like everyone's friend.
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely never the smartest though. I always
smart. Well, school smart.
Never the school smart girl. Right. Yeah, never at all. I am so bad at math. So bad at math.
Okay. Well.
So I never really
that's
was
good for business, I guess. Being bad at math.
Yeah, right. But I did get the experience in the business while I was in high school and stuff. So
what particularly were you doing there business wise here?
Just learning from our owner and stuff. I definitely learned a lot from you know, even just like simply the wage dollar, what the wage dollar needs to be at while we're working on a Saturday or Sunday, something like that.
The labor,
something,
yeah, managing
something
labor,
so simple as that. I was learning like at a very young age, just because I know he knew that I wanted to like be involved in business and stuff like that. My parents are business people, so it was a great way to get that experience without going to school for it.
Well, that is, in a way, that is school. Like, hands-on learning is school. You know?
Yes, I agree.
But like the thing too with hanging out with you is I'm not gonna lie, first time I met you and interacted with you, like just maybe not the first time, but like the first couple of times, I really didn't know how old you were, right? Like Paige is 19. You're 19.
I'm 20.
You're 20. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll be 21 in July.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. But when I met you, I think you were just like 18.
I just had turned 19. Yeah.
But you carried yourself like a full adult ass person.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I just remember being like, this little Care Bear face person is like fucking 70 by the soul. Or yeah.
I definitely like to claim myself as a young soul. That's an old soul.
Old soul. Yeah.
An old soul.
I'd say you're an old soul.
Yeah.
For sure.
And like I don't think I'm as old as I am right now. Like obviously I'm 20, so I just graduated high school. I graduated high school 2020. So that was COVID massacre, whatever it was.
Was your high school cut short because of COVID?
Yeah, so I graduated in March of 2020 instead of June of 2020.
Oh, okay, just by a couple months. At least you still got like high school fun in there, you know?
And I think high school is like a super important experience for people.
Socially, yeah. It's when people don't realize as you get older, between high school and university and things like those kind of like environments, you don't really socialize that ever again, really. So
no, you don't. And like that's something like older people tell you all the time.
It's just crazy.
Is like, whoa, like you're never get this ever again. And you're like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. It's like, no, you're never gonna get this ever again. And I like super appreciated high school for that. I mean, it was cut short by a couple months, but like I said, I was super bad in school. So COVID for me was like a blessing in disguise.
You got to dodge the academic stresses.
There was no diplomas for me. Like I just got to like fly through high school like nobody's business when it really counted. Which ended up me being in university. Like I am halfway through my degree. So
so are you at Mount Royal or U of C or
Mount Royal?
Mount Royal. Okay, in psychology right now, right?
Yes.
Okay, sick.
So I'm
2 more years. You said?
Yeah, I have 2 more years. So I'll go back in September. I took the year off this year.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're like literally managing Belmont. Mardaloop
right it was too hard to do both.
Yeah.
So I took the year off. I moved out of my parents' house and stuff. So
full on adulting, as they say.
Yes, adulting. So yeah, it's been definitely a different experience, like being in university and not living in my parents' house for sure. But it's super fun. Like I love university. Because I took this year off, I've always been like, oh my God, I can't wait to go back. I cannot wait to go back in September. I feel like my brain is not being used for anything right now. Even though I'm managing a whole restaurant.
I get what you're saying. You're saying. Like I have a degree as well. Like, so I went to U of C and I have a Bachelor of Arts in a communication and culture, aka unemployment. Yeah, it's basically general studies what I got. But I knew what I was doing, and you know, I actually went to state after, and I have a bachelor's, a petroleum land administration certifications because I was in oil and gas for a while. Like I was taught always when I was getting out of high school, like get a degree. Then getting some oil gas related, you're Albertan, and you know that's our prime economic ingredient, if you will.
Yes.
But I was gonna say university. When I reflect on it right now, it was some of the best times in my life, man. Like it was so good. The exams were stressful, and back then, you know, you're not sure what you're doing with your life, so that was stressful. But you know, like I'm in a good place now, and but back then again, like. You talk about high school being social, university is like times 10 of that because you're all adults now. And I remember it was the last point in my life where you truly just hang out with people and you think you're networking. Like you're like, hey, you're in business, you're in engineering, you're like, you know, you want to like know
but
people.
You're not networking.
No, because everyone switches their degrees and programs. Some guy drops out, some guy come back, some people take a year off. Like, but you're just there genuinely bonding. It's like it's like the ultimate social environment.
Well, and like
that you'll never get back.
When I got there, I was like it was the coolest thing because like, you know, in high school when you have like the group projects and half of your people are like stupid and half the people are like so amazing and like so great. And like usually, to be honest with you, like I fell in the category of always being like the stupid kid in the group.
Really?
Like, yes. I
don't see that, but again, I could be wrong. You might have.
And like I think that's very interesting with like the group, the dynamic that all of us have like now that you've now all known me is that I seem very different than
You
anyone
seem
from like
mature anyway.
yeah,
like,
anyone from like university or high school would ever pin me as. So when I got to university, the coolest part was like everyone in the group project was the people that wanted to do the group project in high school. Always, always, always were the people that wanted to do the group project in high school were now in university. People who didn't want to participate are no longer in university.
I see. It's just people who want to be
Yes.
there. Yeah.
And so I thought that was like super interesting. I found like common, anything common with these people was like amazing for me to be a part of. You're in a degree, so now all these people around you, like I'm a psych major, so like everyone around you is very interested in like the human at its core. And I love humans. Like I think they're so interesting. I think everything about them. I'm very patient with everyone. I wouldn't be serving in a restaurant for the last 7 years if I hated everyone.
You still have that bushy-eyed like.
Well, and that's great. What everyone like always thinks about me is like, oh, it's bushy-eyed, bright tail. But I think like it's just like who I am. I don't think it's because I'm young.
Hey, I do your thing. You've gotten this far. You've gotten pretty far. Like I mean, it's yeah. I just when I interact with you again, I have to keep reminding myself like, hey, you realize again, like she's only like 19, 20 years old, but like I feel like I'm talking to someone my age,
Right.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like, but I don't know. I don't really have a point I'm trying to get at. I guess what I'm trying to say is like you're, like you're definitely sharp. In my opinion, being older than you by many years and just interacting and gone through a whole gamut of life experiences, I'm like, most kids aren't like you. I'll put it that way, right? Yeah. They really aren't.
Well, I have a very hard time interacting with people my age. Like, I definitely do.
You're saying that. You have to hang out with people older, right?
Yeah, I always do. Like, I have a very cool, like, I've got 2 girlfriends, and they're very awesome. I've got one guy friend who's, like, always supported me through everything. But other than that, like, I couldn't really name anyone beyond that. I have got 3 friends. And, like, at 20, that's
you
like...
told me you're talking to teachers in high school.
Yeah.
Like, I never talked to I talk to my coaches and stuff, like, for sports. But I wouldn't be able to hang in a conversation with a teacher in high school back then.
Well, and I was always like the kid, like, my family is like always hosted like dinners and stuff like that and like dinner parties. And I would always be like the kid being like, I want to hang out with the parents. Like, I want to chat with the parents. And I was never like, oh, I want to go hang out and play like video games downstairs with the kids. Like, that was always like so lame to me. So
hold up. I think you can go both ways though. Cause like the old bar that I used to work at, the owners there, like their kids are adorable. Like, but you definitely have a connection with their one with their one daughter. I do
have like a huge connection with the younger kids. Like,
oh, like little kids.
Yeah, okay, I don't really interact with people my own age. Right. I would definitely say that. Like,
okay, never mind.
I keep it close. Yes, so like I keep it close. Like, I'm very much like, these are my people. They've shown me they're my people. I've had like a lot of situations in my life where like people have passed away, for example.
Yes.
And like when someone dies in your life, I've always like very resonated with the fact that like those are your core people, the people that show up for you and are like proven to be like your amazing friends. Those people we have to keep around. Now, am I lucky or is it sad that I am like at this age where I'm like only have 3 friends? You know what I mean? Like, or is that just like I've already weeded those people out, at 20?
You're
like,
good to go.
Yeah.
You're good to
right?
go.
Like, and that's what I mean. Like, I love these people. I know these people are gonna be my best friends for the rest of my life. And like, my wedding party people.
Well, I wouldn't put.
But because I only think that,
like
I only think that because I've got such minuscule amounts of people in my life. If I had 20 friends, 30 friends that were my core group of people coming out of high school, I think maybe I'd be like second guessing those are my wedding people.
Yeah.
But I've already weeded out those people just as like events have happened in the last 3-4 years, especially COVID, like you start to find out who your real friends are in those kind of situations where you're kind of...
And Paige, honestly, like that never stops.
Yes.
You're always reevaluating. People change, you change. And, and the key is to really recognize who's being nefarious and who's not, right? And sometimes it's you. Like, I've had to look in the mirror myself sometimes and realize like, yeah, I was being a jealous prick. I was being that guy, and
Well, and I will tell you,
and you got to correct that behavior because it's a bad feeling. You're like, oh,
well, sucks, and I will tell you, I've said to ex-boyfriends, ex-girlfriends, all of these things. Like, I have said to them a lot of time, and plenty of times that like, when you look
goes down like water.
I know when you look at your life and you see that like these situations in your life have happened, blah 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 blah, these awful and like uncomfortable situations have happened. And then you look at who the common denominator is in like a lot of these situations. That's the majority of your time. If the majority of your time they're bad situations, if you look at the common denominator, it's always going to be you.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, I've told that to a lot of people my age. I've told that to myself a lot of the time. If something is constantly going wrong in your life, it's your fault.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that like a lot of 20-year-olds, anyone younger than me, anyone even older than me is like willing to admit, is that like you are the common denominator in every single situation you are in.
Are you aware of Jocko Willink?
No, I'm not.
So he's a personal hero of mine. He's a Navy SEAL, retired Navy SEAL. Anyway, he's on the he's a gem of the earth. Like maybe the best guy that I've known up to date. But he has a book called Extreme Ownership. And it talks exactly about like when you start to put everything on your own self, like you realize it's your fault. Like your fault you let yourself get there. Your fault you let yourself continue. Your fault you didn't do the internal dialogue, the work, the this and that. Like it literally creates this I don't know, just this magic where you start to take accountability for your own actions, and when you start to do that, I cannot
stress enough that accountability in people's relationships is like the most amazing feeling in the entire world. Like if you take accountability, like let's say like me and like my significant other are together and all these things. If I'm like legitimate, sorry babe, I didn't empty the dishwasher today. Like I'm sorry that annoys you. You came home from work, the dishwasher's not empty. Now you got to do it. If you just say like that small thing, it brings like so much more acceptance of your human being to another human.
They're definitely more like willing to play ball. They're like, hey, at least she knows she's being lazy. And then you might be like, okay, well, what'd you do all day? And you're like, look, I chilled, but the reason why I chilled is because this was my week before. And then buddy might be like, oh, okay, and then just empty the dishwasher. Versus some people with zero ability, they're like, oh, well, I did it last week. Why didn't you empty it this week? And then bang. And like, it's
just this constant like repercussion of like being like, yo, you didn't do the dishwasher last week, so why do I have to do it this week?
It's hard though, Paige, though, right? It's hard to take ownership a lot of times, 100%. Especially when the thing is like, it's your fault. Yeah. And then you're like, because it hurts, you know? And like, and it's like, some people have been hurt so many times already as a kid that they don't want no more. They're like, no more hurt. Like, not even if it's my fault. I literally just can't. And I feel for those people, but the reality is, but
those people can still take accountability at the end of the day.
They literally
and like
need to.
I know that like God, like just like I'm 20 doesn't mean that like I'm 35 in my head, like I'm still a 20-year-old. So when I make these decisions, like, oh yeah, like I'm just gonna be a shitty person and not do my laundry for the next like 3.5 weeks.
Gross.
Well, that's disgusting. But at least I'm like, fuck, like I'm already on myself about being like, holy shit, you're a lazy bitch. Like you're a lazy bitch. Like get your shit together, Like that's how I always feel.
Should be a Britney Spears song.
Like, right?
You're a lazy bitch. You're a lazy bitch.
I definitely feel like that, but I'm like, as long as I take accountability for it and I know that I'm already like being a shitty, roommate or whatever, like by not doing my laundry, that's irritating for everyone because there's certain things in that laundry.
Okay, so do you translate this kind of accountability to your management style right now? Like how would you 100%. Rate? How would you rate your management style right now?
I would rate it like, honest to God, I'm so hard on myself that I would rate it like a 2 out of 10 if I could.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like legitimately, only because I know I'm better than that.
Do your workers respect you?
Yeah, I would believe so that they do respect me, but I don't think it's like.
Well, do they do what you ask them to do when they ask?
100%.
Okay, well then they respect you.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't see like a huge like. I don't know like how to even describe it. Like very much they respect me in some kind of way, but they also know that I'm their equal, and because of my age. If I was 20 years older, then I would not be their equal. Right. But they just kind of respect me in that kind of way. But I also have situations where like I have younger employees that are my same age that very much treat me like I'm their friend and not their management,
Yeah. Yeah. But that's always tricky. Right. But, but I don't know, like, but you seem to have the business running smoothly from what I understand.
Yeah. I mean, like I have, like I said, I've worked there for 6-7 years. So, I know it like the back of my hand. Is my favorite place on earth. And like I said, like I started working there when I was 13. So like the problem, like not the problem, it's not even a problem at all. The thing with that is that I'm very, very at its core involved because I love it so much.
You literally take the action too.
Yes.
You're not like, hey Jim, go wash the dishes. Like you're washing them with them.
Yes.
Whatever,
and I've done every position at that restaurant that I can possibly do. But it doesn't.
Okay, well then hold on. Oh, sorry, maybe I'm segueing a little
No,
bit.
go
Like
ahead.
why psychology then in school? Like if you're getting so far in the business like style right now, because like the reality, like a lot of people I know who have degrees, they're broke as fuck later,
Yeah.
and they suck with money and they don't know what they're doing. And I'm like, you're getting this hands on. You are getting business experience. Like,
Well,
why
and
don't you do business
like,
then? Maybe
so when
perhaps,
I
you know?
applied for psychology, so when you apply for university, you kind of have like a first and then your second degree when you apply. So
Oh, is that the way they do it now?
Yes.
Okay.
So like you
Do we
apply
do
for
it like that?
your very core thing that you want.
Well, we just applied for minors and majors back when I did it.
So there's no minors. Minors and majors kind of come after now. I mean, at least at Mount Royal. I don't know what it's like at UFC, but at Mount Royal, minors and majors kind of come later in your degree.
Well, my degree was 60 years ago, right? So
yeah, 100 years ago, actually,
yeah.
Shawn.
Yeah, well, us Asians age 2 lifetimes in one lifetime, right? People know that. Everyone knows that.
And then so when I applied,
we were the modern Twilight before Twilight even became a show or a movie or whatever.
No aging at all. No, so actually, so like I said earlier, like when I was in high school, like high school fucking sucked. Like I hated high school. It was the worst ever. So I ended up applying for.
So which high school did you go to again in Calgary?
William Aberhart.
Aberhart. I know Aberhart.
Yes.
William Aberhart. Oh, there's a William in front of that?
Yes.
Wait a minute. Aberhart's a sports school.
Yes. Well, kind of alongside St. Francis. So St. Francis, so how Calgary works obviously is like there's like the Catholic program and then there's also private and then there's also public.
Yeah, okay.
So public is William Aberhart. Across the street, it's like 5 blocks away. Across the street is St. Francis, which is where my boyfriend went to school.
Yeah.
So St. Francis is the same colors. They're white and orange.
St. Francis.
Yeah, white and orange at St. Francis, and we're white and orange at William Aberhart.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, we were the Trojans.
Go
ahead.
Does Francis still throw parties pretty hardcore?
Pretty hardcore.
Okay, because when I was in high school, Francis was like, I didn't go to Francis, but you went to Francis
parties.
100%. They were like right out of a movie.
Yeah.
Like
so
you literally thought you're like, this is
basically
real
like kind
party,
of how my
like,
high school rolled. I was in the French immersion program, so I'm half bilingual French.
Okay.
So basically the way Francis rolls now is like we're their cousin school. They kind of like I mean I haven't been in high school for like 3 years now, but we're their cousin high school. So like everything they did, we did. We kind of were invited to every house party and all those things.
Okay. So we're allies.
Yeah, allies. And even like, when it came to football, you're still kind of allies, but you're still kind of like, when Francis would make it to the finals, well then you were a Francis like fan,
Okay.
Like I would go to the Francis games, like
literally allies.
Aberhart.
Okay.
Yeah, Aberhart is fucking out. Well, guess what? Now I'm like in Francis, so it was a pretty cool high school to go to. Like considering it kind of interacted with the Catholic school, that was super fun. But I know like I dated a guy that went to Crescent Heights. So that was like a huge part of my life during high school. Like I did
was going to Crescent Heights.
Was not even going to Crescent Heights. Crescent Heights high school parties. So like we always like he was always throwing the parties, and I was like I remember when I first started dating him, I was like, I did not know you were gonna throw all the parties. Like I did not know I was gonna be part of this, but. Yeah, definitely all the schools kind of interact now, I would say. Like,
it's really interesting because like back in the day, someone not back in the day, a couple years ago, someone made this cool Calgary chart that literally stereotypes and breaks down like different quadrants of the city.
I've seen that.
Yeah, and like when I remember like looking at it, I was like, because literally the map was it's like this section of Northwest. It's like it literally says like rich Asian families.
Yeah,
and then this part it was like brown families. And then this part is like industrial, and this part is as like suburban super area or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, but when I saw that, I was like, this thing's completely precisely accurate. But when I went to high school, like fucking many years ago, it was like it seems like that socioeconomic model is like still exists now. Even.
It does.
Yeah, which means that this city is interesting. Its quadrants grow, but they don't change. You know what I mean?
And I mean, William Aberhart was definitely like, I would say a rich kid school. As public as it was like a very rich kid school. You had kids rolling up in their mom's Porsches.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the Aberhart kids when I was in
yeah.
when I was
I mean, I love this school, and I never would diss high school for what it was. It's high school.
Yeah.
It's high school. You're dating guys. They're throwing the parties. So what's interesting in my end is that where you had COVID.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like very weird to me that we just like all of a sudden like we're just like locked down. You can't see anyone. I started dating my second boyfriend ever, and it was like a week before COVID. So COVID was like March 15th or whatever, like official lockdown in Canada, and we had started dating like March 2nd. So I started
Honestly,
this new relationship.
High school dating is like dog years. Like 3 months of a high school relationship might as well be like 5 years.
Right?
It leaves such an impact on your like psyche.
Well, and so like
too.
I'm still very not involved. I would say like my ex-boyfriend, he's just like very much a part of my life because my best friends are still all friends with him. So he's very much still a part of my, like, I still hear about what's going on in his life. We had a great relationship, to be honest with you. We traveled to Vancouver over COVID and stuff like that, you know, when we were able to travel over COVID.
You're saying you were traveling during COVID?
Oh my God.
Against all these fucking restrictions? Are you serious? Get off my podcast right now.
No, we definitely traveled like when it was allowed or whatever, like whatever happens in those times. But he was like, he's very like same thing. Like his best friend is my best friend. So very podcast oriented, very, you know,
all right.
Very music video oriented. He like wrote music. He's an amazing artist.
Is this the buddy you said with the super studio?
Yeah, so Finn, who has the super studio, yeah.
Okay. Hey, Finn, I might need to reach out, bro.
Might need to have you part of our...
I need to up my video editing game, which is non-existent right now. But
well, Finn is, like, very talented. So, like I was telling you, Shawn and I went out earlier before the podcast, and like I was telling Shawn earlier, is that Finn is very, very talented in the music industry and the editing industry, all these things. He's provided like a studio for himself. And I was super involved in those things like over COVID because what else the fuck were we supposed to do?
Supposed to be doing your fucking homework, Paige. That's what you're supposed to be
doing. No, CB said, ain't no way.
It didn't even matter anyway, man.
Pass.
It is, but it's true. Like you didn't care about school. You say you had shitty grades, but you got into the psychology program at fucking Mount Royal. So
which is like a like 3.5 GPA.
Are you one of those girls that's like, oh my God, I suck in school. I only got a fucking like 3.7.
No. I had a 43% when COVID lockdown in math. Oh, I had a 43%. I was failing when COVID happened. Fair. No.
Was this math? Okay, do you guys still do the 30 peer applied math and IB math?
So we have like 30-1, 30-2, 30-3.
Okay.
So
is there still applied math or whatever?
I don't think we have applied math.
Okay, because when I went, there was 2 tiers. There's your applied math, which is like, it's just math that I guess you would just use in day-to-day life. And then they had this thing called peer math, which is like your calculus or whatever,
like,
you know.
So like, straight out of junior high, I went to 10-2, which is like stupid kid math. Like if anyone knew you were going to that math class, you were stupid kid math.
So you were in stupid kid math?
Oh yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Did you ride the short bus then to school too?
No, I drove a $100,000 car to work.
Right. It was short though. Right?
Yeah. It was low to the ground. But
parents, I need a low rider because I'm short.
Your kid is in 10-2.
I'm dodging a short bus thing, but riding a short $100,000 car. But
But my sister was like definitely, I would say, like, to be honest, to be like at its core honest, I loved public school in Calgary, but my sister went to St. Francis, so she went to Catholic school.
Okay.
My sister went to Catholic school for the last year of her high school.
That's kind of randomly different.
She is so much more fucking smart than I am. Like, that's for sure. So I think Catholic school kind of provides like a very like
Wait a minute, but Aberhart is not a...
No, it's public.
It's public. Okay, so wait. So why did Tate go to fucking
Catholic school?
Catholic school. Then?
I mean, it's not really up to my discretion to talk about it.
Did she choose to?
She kind of was like,
I'm religious, so...
No, she wasn't. So we're baptized Catholic. My family's all baptized Catholic.
Oh, so you're the one who didn't go to Catholic school. Then.
Yes. Okay. So my parents were like, I don't want you to go to Catholic school, blah, blah, blah. My dad was very like, I don't want you to go to Catholic school. This is just like not what our core beliefs are. We never went to church or anything every Sunday. Like we weren't those Catholic people. So anyways, I ended up going to public school. My sister started her first grade 10 and grade 11 in public school. Okay. So she went to William Aberhart. And then in her last year of high school, she had a hard time with the people in the social groups at William Aberhart's. My parents.
Really?
Yeah.
So really, Tate? Really? I don't know. I only met Tate the one time, but like she seemed pretty like alpha doggy, like you. That's the way it appeared.
She is very alpha doggy, but she's very much like she's still a little kid. And like, you know.
Are you definitely big sister around her then?
Definitely big sister.
Okay.
Sister.
Cool.
She's like my little, like she's at its core. She is
She's your
little
sidekick.
sister.
Like
Yeah.
you're Batman, she's Robin.
Yeah. And like sometimes she's Robin on like a whole different adventure and like I don't know what's going on and like holy shit, please come back to me. But yeah, she's a great sister. I mean, she's 18. Like you have to remember, like I always, for the viewers, like we moved out I had just turned 20 and she was 18. We had moved out. So she's very much like still like, oh my God, I'm 18 living downtown. Holy shit, this is the best time of my life, you know?
That feeling goes away real quick.
Yeah. And so,
With
you know, you
bills
can always,
and
what I would
problems.
always say to anyone like that's moving out is fuck, don't move downtown. It's the dumbest shit you've ever done in your life.
Hey, I've been living downtown for like 20 years.
I've been living downtown forever, like as long as I moved out. But like living downtown is like very much the same as living like 2 communities out of downtown, right? Like I live in Mardaloop now. And Mardaloop is a totally different like ball game than living downtown. You're not drinking and
royalty.
partying. Yeah. But you're not drinking and partying. You're drinking and partying. You're not drinking and partying, you know, if that makes any sense to anyone. Like you're just not being like Sean's like, I don't know what to say.
And partying.
But like it's just different. Like I don't have 50 people at my apartment building, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas I go and sit at the bar and I go and have a good conversation with people around me.
Yeah. Well, that segues me into 2 topics. Like, well, the first one, why is Tate just throwing like mad parties right now? Your old spot right now, all the time.
Yeah, like kind of mad parties, and she's just kind of like,
she's not evicted yet.
Oh, we got a notification being like, if you don't stop the shit, you're gonna be evicted. But yeah, so I mean, she hasn't been yet, and like she's done a really great as an older sister. She's done a very great job being a younger sister, if that can say anything to her.
Well, I think you know it was a chicken or the egg thing because it's like, well, then she's probably a good younger sister because she respects her older sister, you know, or something. I don't know, you know.
I do think that. Like, I think she's like very much.
I lost my train of thought. I had a question for you, but I fucking can't remember now. But
what's it like being 20 in Calgary?
No, that wasn't it. Okay, keep going. You were on a roll. Keep going.
No, I'm just saying my sister is like just very much like she has at its core, like I know she's cool. Like my boyfriend and I always say, you know, wait till she's 25 because she'll be the coolest girl in the room. She will be. She's very much like me. She looks exactly like me. She, you know, like I love her till death do us part. I love her. I think she's so funny. She brings so much life to my life, but she just needs to grow up and like. She hasn't learned how to grow up yet. And I think that's very core for everyone to just kind of have those life experiences and learn how to grow up. I can only say,
I don't even know what that means anymore, man, because the dynamic of everything's so different now. Like you can't put the same standards on someone to grow up like in my dad's era versus people now. Like we don't have the same challenges.
Well, and my sister, like I have
we're
to
winging it. We're definitely winging it right now 100%, as a society.
And
like,
especially over COVID, like, you know, my sister, so my boyfriend always says like, hey, like your sister is 2 years younger than she always is. Like she actually is right now because she was in COVID. So when COVID started, she was 16. Well, now she's 19.
Yeah, I was going to hold on. So like she definitely lost out on some high school 100%. Years, right? Like there's a lot of questions right now because like the kids who missed out on that social period. And again, I'm not saying this with the vantage point of it always being a positive experience. Trust me, some kids had horrible experiences in high school, and like COVID is a blessing because because it stopped the bullying, it stopped the like lost identity shit, it stopped the just that angst. They had a little break. I get that, but that's a smaller category of people, I would say. But most people, man, like you're missing out on some serious, great in-person social time. Like, I mean, to do it all digitally, that's one thing, but I know for sure it's, I mean, I'm sure you notice this too. Like there's some awkward ass 18, 19, 20-year-olds right now. Like
100%.
They can't talk to someone at all. Like they'll be
my boyfriend will always say, when we take Tate out for dinner, she's the first girl to smash a glass in the restaurant for the whole night. Like that's like just at its core, like that's how awkward they are. They don't understand any kind of sociality because they've been
I can literally sense their anxiety.
Yes.
Like I can sit there quietly and like, there's this one dude, I'm not gonna name names, but so he comes to the bar. I was working that day, and then your man was at the bar, and like, and then this buddy comes up and he's just like, I'll have 2 shots of vodka.
I remember this.
You're like your cheapest one, and I'm like,
The cheapest one is Polar Ice.
Yeah, it's
You
gross.
you literally want to shoot Polar Ice.
Like,
He's
might as well shoot rubbing alcohol.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. I'm like, you sure don't want a cocktail? You know, like I can put some soda, some lychee in it. No, but he's like, well, and he's like literally thinking, like, I can tell you didn't even know what a cocktail was, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, that's fine. That's fine. You don't know any of this. Every people got to learn, but like,
right.
you know, but the second week came and he did the same thing. The third week and fourth week, and I was sitting there, be like, was that all the human interaction you had? Was that one time with us, and then like the rest of the time now you're on TikTok, Instagram, or whatever, you know, and it was just, I was just kind of like, man, that's just so far away from what I was experiencing when I was, you know, younger. Because back then it was just so in person. Everything's in person. Like you get your stripes, if you will, like your social stripes, like pretty in real time. You know, like you get bullied, you laugh it off, and then you bully the guy back who's bullying you. You know, you fight back, right? But there's this whole like, oh, I'll just shell up and then, I don't know, fucking do a bunch of digital shit.
Well, I mean, like, that's the thing, like, as me as being an old soul, like, I very much, like, relinquished my fact of, like, I could even be on social media or anything like that. Like, I don't even get it anymore. I don't understand why everyone wants to be on social media. But, like, I definitely always notice that these people are constantly, like, putting out these, like, pieces about other people, like, all the time. And I'm like, why are you talking about those other people?
Yeah, no, the internet's a horror show when it goes to that kind of realm.
Fucked.
Oh,
like,
it's fucked.
So
because
fucked.
there's just no way to like punch someone in the mouth over the internet. You know, back in the day, like you talk some shit about someone in my era, like they're chasing you down. It's a
and even I remember,
problem,
you know, like I'm much like, sorry, Shawn, you're not like the oldest piece in the room, but I'm much younger than you.
200 years old. You know? Yeah.
I'm much younger than you, and like I still remember that like there was girls like I would be like, well, you want to be fucking crazy? I'll be the craziest bitch in the room. You know, like I'll be the craziest bitch in the room. And like that's still like that was still a thing when I was in high school. And now it's like, why don't you just bully this person over like the phone? You know, and why
don't bully them? How about focus on your own success?
Well, and that's what I mean. I'm like, I can't believe like so many people spend so much time like just like constantly belittling another person.
Yeah. But it doesn't stop there just in high school, man. Like you go to any, like go on the internet, like any tier of success, it's like, it's the same story. Someone's just, it's at the end of the day, it's just the same formula of misery. It's someone that, you know, and, you know, been through it myself. It sucks, but it's just someone going through some identity crisis shit.
Yeah.
And you know, but hurt people. You heard that, right?
100%.
Yeah. So just someone's hurt, so hurting other people. But if you're hurt, do the Jocko Willing, fucking take responsibility, extreme ownership, find out why you let yourself be hurt, and you know.
Well, and it's like, don't like, you know, hurt people might hurt people, but it's like you could always be that person that doesn't hurt the other person.
Yeah,
and like my like whole brain is like, why ever stoop to that person's level? You know, like.
See,
why
that's
ever,
why you're an old soul.
Yeah, and like, why ever be like, you won't, you know, like if they're gonna shoot at you and like constantly just be like, she's a fucking shitty person, she's this, you know, I have never, you know, at a girl's core, like I have never ever struggled with like any kind of insecurity in my life, and that's a really lucky thing to say. I've never, but in the last year, where like now I am like out in the open, you know, I manage a restaurant.
Hold up,
those
though,
things.
Paige, sorry, you just said like you're like, I've never struggled with insecurity. Well, yeah, because you're a hot chick.
Thank you.
There you go, like hot chick, like you're not the one that struggles with.
What I have to say is that,
you know
like, I have now all of a sudden, like,
Paige has the fattest toes ever, guys. Like fucking ridiculous.
My toes are disgusting.
She needs to wear Uggs like all season long because of disgusting ogre feet. Anyway, there you go. Are you insecure now?
Yeah, no, like I'm not even insecure about that because I'm like, no, my toes are hot. Like I know my toes are tiny and by like, you know,
in a hairy way.
Cute, yeah. So disgusting. But I always am like,
she has athlete's foot.
You know what I have to say is like, I have never. So this is like what I have been, and obviously I'm 20. So my huge thing about like my life is that I'm 20, you know, running a restaurant. I am halfway through my degree.
You have a lot going on right now.
You know, like I've got a lot of adult things going on. And I have to remember still that I'm 20 sometimes. And when I'm hard on myself, you know, it is that insecurity.
I say fuck that mentality.
No, I know, but it is like, so like you have to remember, like I've never ever struggled with insecurity. I've always been like, oh my God, I'm so awesome. All these things,
awesome.
You know, like
that's
roll
great.
about, you know, like.
Did your parents teach you that maybe?
No.
That's how you just had it?
No, I just, because I think like, I mean, I'm not always, but I would say like in elementary school, you know, like I'm French. So like I have hair on my arms, for example, you know, my half of my
What does
body.
that mean?
Well, there's just like, you know, girls would always be like, there's hair on your arms. Like, why do you have hair on your arms? Are you a boy? And I'm like, no, I'm not.
Honestly,
in elementary
call me call me ignorant, but that's never been a sticking point for myself personally.
Well, that's been a sticking point for my whole life. So, you know, like, so that's the thing for me. It's like, okay, so, you know, I've never been insecure at its core my whole life. You know, I've always like woke up in the morning, done my makeup. I've, you know, just been like, yeah, you're the hottest bitch. You're the most confident bitch, blah, blah, blah. What I've struggled with. Yeah. Nice. But what I've struggled with a lot this year is that like, I am the most insecure I've ever felt in my entire life.
Now you're experiencing
as I've gotten older, you know, like all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit. Like
let's psychology your ass here. What are you insecure about now? Like, I don't
even know. Like,
you have a lot of positive things going on from what I can see. Like what I like about you, if life's like a video game, it seems, I could be wrong down the line, but as of this podcast shooting, it's like there's level 0 to 10. It's like you just skipped 0 to 10. You went right to 10, right?
Yeah.
And like, so it's like nice. Like now you hang out in level 10. Like the game is the objective is always to get to the next level.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, so if you can get to that highest level fast to see, because like the highest level is where the real human problems start, like trying to solve like how to cure cancer and shit. Like, you have to mature so much to get to that level to like even participate in the real problems that exist per se, if that makes any sense. So it's like, so when you see someone stuck at a real low level, you know, like I'll know guys who to this day who still like just like bombarding a girl's fucking phone number. Like with like 50 text messages and ask me like, why
is she answering me?
Why is just not going
it's like,
anywhere?
Why the fuck don't you think, and babe? Like you're creepy as fuck.
Yeah. Like, and, you know, and I'm like, the fact that you don't even have wherewithal to understand, think of it was reverse. Say someone you aren't interested in that way is bombarding, blowing up your phone like with 100 messages. Like, how would you reply? The fact that they don't have that wherewithal to like take that vantage point. And I'm like, hey, you're so low in the level, fucking, like, it's like I have to interact with you like you're a kid because just to get you out of the way so I can interact with real people who are fucking shooting for the stars so that I can shoot for the stars so that we can all fucking grow this thing called humanity, right?
Well, it's and like, I mean, like, I think like a lot of people I surround myself now with is like very, what's the next step? Like, where are you going? Like, what's your business plan? What's this? What's that? What's, you know, and at its core, I'm very much in a position and at the restaurant that I'm at to be like, I don't have to go to school. You know, I don't have to do anything. I could just take this where it's at and move forward with it.
If the thing is growing, if like, cause what you said that resonated with me too earlier was you said like, you basically don't have enough challenge anymore in your job, right?
No.
So it's like, then you took on school, right? That is the appropriate move. If you're not growing, then like,
well, and that's what I mean. Like
you have to keep growing. Like,
you know,
so,
I see,
you're
especially at Mardaloop, like our diner in Mardaloop, it's close to Mount Royal. It's like a 6-minute drive from Mount Royal. So I have a lot of students that come in every day. You know, they're like just on their lunch break. They're just wanting to have a good meal and a good chat and all those things. But I see them in there every day, and I'm like, fuck. Like I've already had 2 years of this. I wish I was back in that, like, so bad. I'm, you know, like, I'm in a position where I don't have to be back in it. Like, I don't have to. But I really, really enjoy just learning and, like being in that social position where you're meeting new people and you're this and that. And, like, you know, meeting new people is a huge core part of, like, your entire life. You know, the thing where you're, like...
Yeah, you have to keep meeting people.
Well,
but
and,
right
like,
now,
even
people aren't meeting people anymore, man. Like, they're stuck in some digital universe. And, you know, like talking mad shit digitally,
100%.
And then in person, they're like,
well, they're pussies.
Like,
at the end of the day, they're pussies.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. Like going back to the fact that like I've never been more insecure in my life than I have like in like my most successful part of my life. Okay. You know,
that's good then.
And I don't know in the next like 50, 60, 70 years what my life's going to look like. You know, maybe I might have, but I might have more successful periods of my life. But right now at its core, like this is the most successful period of my life. And I've never felt more insecure. And like, I think that's like very important to recognize for any like 20-year-old or anything. Like I am 20 and like, I see like these influencers like right now on TikTok, for example, it's like Alex Earl or whatever. She's like a very famous TikToker right now. And I always like, I see right now, I'm like, she's so fucking fake, it's unreal. Like she's literally so fucking fake, it's unreal. She's got lip injections. She's got fake boobs, you know.
Don't even get me
And
started
I
on
am
that.
so honest to God, I'm so into lip injections and the fake tits and all of those things. I love that. That's super amazing for you. You know, I might get fake tits one day. Like that's super fucking awesome. But she does not have real fucking friends. She doesn't. And like I have 3 or 4 real friends, and other than that, like I'm not gonna have anything beyond that. And I think that's what like a lot of people that are insecure at their most successful point like need to just be like very accepting of. And I've seen a lot of people my age that are very successful, like, you know, nurses, like they're almost done their fucking nursing degree, they're gonna go into this field and be amazing. And you're like, why are you so insecure? Why don't you want your job? Like blah 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 blah. It's like, well, this is the like most hardcore point in your life, like where you're just go ahead,
Paige. I literally got to pause this thing right now. I'm about to piss myself. I've been
Shawn.
completely listening. No, I have.
It's okay.
Okay, I'm pausing this right now. Okay, pausing this. We're gonna do a part 1, part 2. We're doing part 1, part 2. This is part 1. All right, I'm pausing it.